acknowledging.
Welcome to Jurassic World Chaos Theory ASMR.
Sorry. We're used to making quiet sounds.
Yeah.
I actually met an ASMR YouTuber here.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay, there you go.
For videos. All right. Can you say your names for the recording so we can keep it all straight? Thank
Yes.
Kausar Mohammed.
And Raini Rodriguez.
you. And we're here to talk about
Jurassic World Chaos Theory
season
2
All right.
on October 17th on Netflix.
Gentlemen.
I'll start off. Hello,
Hi.
Najir. I want to talk about the maturity of the characters now through the second series, going into the second season. Just what has that growth been for you all, and what are like the subtle tweaks within the voice acting with the maturity of the characters?
Ooh, I mean, I feel like for Sammy, just speaking for her, like her accent and her growing up and things like that, I remember asking Scott, like, does she change? Is she different? And he was like, in terms of voice, no. I mean, she didn't, grow up to be a 25-year-old man or something with a deep puberty voice. Yeah. He was like, but emotionally, yeah. I mean, we see Sammy in Camp Cretaceous as this, cheerful, upbeat, full of energy type of gal, and then when season 1 happens in Chaos Theory, with everything with Yaz and the dinosaurs, and 6 years later, and we're living in a world where they're around us all the time, and she's going through issues with her family and with Yasmina and Brooklyn's death, and it changes her emotionally, which then helps the performance kind of change a little bit too, which is really fun and nice to portray when you're in the booth. And Kausar and I get to record a lot together, and so to get to play off of each other is really nice, and it helps the performance come out.
And I think for Yaz, there was such a distinction, I think, between in Camp Cretaceous that we got to extend into Chaos Theory. So season 1, episode 1, Yaz was very dry, not much to display much emotion. But by the time we got to the end of Camp Cretaceous and stepping into Chaos Theory, I remember asking, there were certain lines where I was really hitting the deadpan like I usually would, and Scott was like, you know what, this is a different, Yaz has changed, she's not in her shell as she once was, so I got to sort of just honestly be a little bit more me in a fun way toward that transition.
Yeah.
So vocally, I would say that was a transformation.
Well, I love to hear that you got to work together, because I know
Yes.
so often that is not the case.
Yeah.
So tell me about the way your relationship affects the way you perform.
I think Kausar and I work really well together.
Yeah.
We have fun. I mean, we've been doing, this show since 2018 for Camp Cretaceous and now Chaos Theory, and so, it's 6 years for us?
Yeah.
So it's very fun, and we've always gotten to record together, and obviously pre-pandemic we were in the booth quite a bit, and post-pandemic, there was hardly anything. So for Chaos Theory, it's been a lot of like Zoom recordings with each other, or we'll get in person and do some together, which is always really special. And then if we can't record together, then I'll get to listen to a lot of her recordings and get to hear kind of where she's at, like tone-wise with the scene or emotional with the scene, and kind of get to play off of her like that. It's really nice.
Yeah, and it's always just so fun to play when
Yes.
we are together in the room, whether it's like, just going off of each other's vibes
Yes.
or improv jokes or whatever it is. And also shout out to Raini whenever we're in a group session, whether it's us two or the group, like everyone together. Raini's so good at being like camp fan mama, like
Yeah.
in a sense, in the way that sense that Sammy is.
Yeah.
And just making sure everyone has a good time and feels welcome. So like lots of love for the tone that Raini, you set when we're in these settings.
Thank you. I'm always loving to take all the pictures and videos. It's fun. It's
so
nice.
sweet.
You
It's
have
so
to.
sweet.
You have to.
Yeah.
These are memories.
And I'm so grateful because that year later when you see the photo,
Yeah.
I'm like, thank you.
You're like, yes, there you go.
Yes. Yes.
Being that you've been able to play these characters over so many years, obviously takes ownership over them. What kind of relationship you have with Scott there, and maybe talking about certain points of a way a character might react, you kind of think one too.
They've been really good about, as the years have gone by and the seasons have gone on, of letting us kind of like improvise sometimes, getting the lines that's written and then going, well, what feels more natural to you? Like, we wrote in there, some Walla lines of like, oh, yay, or this is great, but like, what would Sammy say in this situation? Or how would she feel in this situation? And then I get to add in our little things. And that's kind of where even the Camp Fam slogan came out of, which was, I'm originally from Texas. So Sammy's extremely, extremely close to my heart, and we're very, very similar. And so getting to kind of improvise with that kind of thing of like, throwing fun little slogans in there and getting to do the accent, and that's like where Camp Fam even came from. Of me just like shortening little words and like being funny with it and stuff. Or I'm always saying yeehaw and let's ride or let's go, and it is. I mean, that's like what my family would say back home. I think they do such an amazing job already of hearing our voices of what the characters should be. And I think obviously the characters start with them in the writer's room and how they create them and how they draw them, and we kind of provide the voices to bring them to life. But I think they do such a good job of already hearing the voices that once we're there, we're like, oh yeah, by now this is definitely what Sammy would say or how she would do it. And when we get to improvise and talk to each other and that kind of thing. And I always like to go in there too, and just my goal is to make Scott laugh. So if I can make him laugh, I know that it's probably staying in the episode. if it got a good that was funny, kiddo, I'm like, good, that one's staying in.
And I think that's the joy of voiceover too. It can be like, okay, say the written lines and then throw in the one that you think the character might just slightly say different. Yeah, and they're so good at fostering that. The director Serena Irwin as well is one of my favorite voice directors to work with ever, and she's just so good at nurturing, bringing yourself to the character and leaning into that. So they're very collaborative.
The Jurassic community, I mean, we've all grown up to love it, and we're really at a point now where you all are like the catalyst of continuously pushing it forward and reaching to this younger generation. What does legacy for this mean for you all?
Ooh, amazing. It's such an honor to be a part of the Jurassic franchise. I mean, their fandom has welcomed us in with open arms since the beginning. And I feel like every episode that we come out with is a love letter to them, of lore, of things that are canon, and things that we get to touch upon because it's animation. We have the ability to kind of dive deeper into some things and leave more Easter eggs that maybe the live action couldn't get to do. So to be able to kind of input those in there, we as actors love reading the scripts and seeing them. We as actors just love finding those little things, those little nods to other movies and, the books or the comics or, even the things that they write on the internet. Just the little things that we get to put in there that Scott and Aaron get to come up with and throw in there is amazing. I mean, it is an honor to be a part of the Jurassic franchise. They are phenomenal.
Ditto to everything Raini said, and also the representation aspect. I think it's something me and Raini talk about this all the time. Just how deeply the representation, not only seeing kids in the Jurassic franchise in such a direct and focused way, but also see the different types of kids. Queer kids, kids of every color. Minasa kids, Latinx
kids with disabilities.
Kids,
we have everything, and I think that's really important because someone can watch our show and find a character that you really relate to, and then latch onto that character, and you basically get to watch our whole life story unfold with a lot of dinosaurs mixed in, which I think at the core is what Jurassic is all about, right? Dinosaurs, and we do such a good job at bringing all that in together.
And no one's safe, no matter what type of diversity you are. Dinosaurs are going to get you, and that's a beautiful equalizer. We're all human.
Yes, we love the equality that the dinosaurs show to us.
Well, when you talk about representation, though, I think one of the most significant kinds of representation in this series is trauma. And that's not something we often see represented in such a real way. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, certainly. And I think Yaz's arc going from Camp Cretaceous and dealing with the trauma and then stepping into how she confronts it in Chaos Theory has been such a beautiful, I think the writers have done such a good job of the way they put that on paper and also shown trauma to kids in a way where it's dealing with it, but then also not shying away from the PTSD aspect of it into here's therapy for it, and here's how we confront it and deal with it. And we get to continue to see that in season 2. And I'm so grateful that we don't shy away from things like that, because there's so many kids today dealing with the same things in their own ways. Not dinosaurs, I hope and pray for their sake. But other things, which are their own dinosaurs.
Yes. Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's really important to showcase that. I think in everyday life things happen all the time. And I think that we get to showcase that and normalize it, that not only are Sammy and Yaz going through a relationship together and trying to figure out their love for each other and what the future's going to look like and how they can come together after being apart, but they're also running from dinosaurs, which is traumatizing, and losing the lives of their friends, which is traumatizing, and being around so much destruction and chaos. That what does that look like to them, and how do they deal with that? We would always joke around it like that, when do these kids drink water? When do they have time to go to the bathroom? Have we seen that? that? Have we seen them like cry ever? Like, what is happening here? So it's nice that we get to see that in Chaos Theory, get to showcase that, because it is a normal part of life.
Yeah.
Trauma is so normal, and for every person, any little thing can be traumatic. Whether it is, losing someone that you love so much, or stubbing your toe, things like that. They can all be traumatic. So it's nice for kids to be able to see that and relate to it, and let it help them move on with their lives.
And so, speaking about season 2, you guys are on the boat. Tell us a little bit about the thrilling aspects of what we're going to see.
Say the first part of that question one more time.
Now that you're on a cargo ship,
Yes.
tell us a little bit about.
And I just want to point out, did your camera have a red light on?
It did.
It's off now. I just want to let you know.
Oh, you are sweet.
I just want to let you know.
Awesome.
Because I'm like, wait till this answer. No.
He's my buddy. I got him. We'll make sure
Buy
we
a
get the
time, buy a
footage.
time.
We're fine.
I'll tell you.
Wow.
I'll tell you.
I see being
Man.
a producer in your
Yeah.
Oh no.
We're double checking.
Yes.
No, just go ahead. I'll go grab it from him.
We'll,
Okay.
we'll definitely want to come back to that question. I want to, of course, I was going to bring up diversity and inclusion and all you do. I'm curious about, you talk about how important it is, but what is the conversations like when you start to craft a story and you start to craft these characters over the years and you continue to push it forward? So continued conversation is not something that has a period at the end. The work is never done. So what is like the continued conversation to ensure that everybody is continued to be seen, and you again talking about mental health and whatnot, a very important aspect of it. But like, what are like the actual conversations that you had to say, this is what we need to do? How do you approach that?
Inside the show or outside the show?
Well,
He's like, how much time you got?
I'm about to say, get the tea out real quick.
Yeah, he's
Sit back and
like,
kick back.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You got a
Turn
lot
into
to
a full
talk about.
podcast.
Let me have your feelings. Go ahead.
Show,
No, definitely within the show and the profession of the show,
Yeah.
like the business of the show is what I'm coming at here.
Yeah. Like in terms of like how we are going to continue to unpack it.
Yeah.
Yeah. In Yaz's storyline, or
Yeah, let's go there.
Okay. Well, and I think I think what I am looking forward to seeing is also the fact that it's not linear. To me, that's one of the most important things.
Right.
That sometimes it takes a lifetime to overcome trauma. The fact that trauma lives in our bodies.
Yeah.
And we get to see Yaz really go through her own experiences of that. Whether it's having certain moments where of uncertainty of being able to deal with something, or when you see a friend going through something, how to not project something on them. So those are all things that we get to see that I feel like are such an important journey of healing.
Yeah.
Because again, healing is all we have, right? It's all we have for all of our people, of all of our world. So it's like that is the most important thing, and recognizing the journey of it and how long it can take is what and the messiness of it is what I'm excited to continue seeing.
And I think too, what Scott and Aaron and the writers are so great about is continuing those conversations. Is stopping and going, hey, like, does this feel right? Is this something you would say? They consult with a lot of people off camera as well, like within, the GLAAD community, the disabled actors community. Like, they always ask us questions about our nationality or our ethnicity or, traditions that we might have that they can incorporate, things like that. Like, they're very good about that. Because I remember, like, even when we would go through different things of, like, in Camp Cretaceous or, part of Chaos Theory of, just traveling to different places and different cultures that we meet, making sure that we're correct in our terminology and how we pronounce them, and and so I think that's so wonderful to have is it starts at the top, and I think the people over at Netflix and DreamWorks, and then it trickles down to Scott and Aaron, and I think they're so wonderful at just making sure that everybody feels included and it's told correctly, and that we continue it, because I think that's so important.
Thank you.
Yeah. He had one more question and his camera cut off. Can we answer that question?
Yeah.
Okay, I promise. We'll be fast. I promise. No, get your question. Your red light's on now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was just wondering about this new season. And now you guys it's going to be more thrilling. You guys are not even on an island anymore. Now you're stuck on a boat with some of these dinosaurs. So
Yes. Well, I mean, first things first, where's that boat going?
Yes.
And season 2 is going to answer that for you guys. Where's the boat going? That's the most important question right now, right? And then we leave off on Brooklyn. She's alive. What's up with that? And will we find out about that? And how is that going to affect us even more? Because the chaos never ends in our show, ever. And so I think that's going to be really fun for fans to see, is where the boat's going and the adventures we're going to be on.
Yes, and the first time they're all together like that, contained on a cargo ship. So, you know, things will sizzle.
Feelings will be happening.
And there will be dinosaurs.
And there always will be dinosaurs in Jurassic World. Let's be real. The ever-ending dinosaurs are, I mean, they're just going to be there. And we have new ones coming too, which is exciting. And I know fans love that. We love it too. And trying to pronounce the names are even more fun. But yeah, it's going to be a great season. I'm so excited for everyone to check it out.
You guys are amazing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you guys so much.
Y'all.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Awesome.
I'm going to come say bye before.
Okay.
We're going to rotate.
Okay.